there on the chat.
We share ideas and pray for each other.
My favorite show hosts are actually in the live chat.
When you're out for a day, you just can't wait to get back.
Isn't it just amazing, like the family?
We do hear you.
The chat is where your voice is heard, and that's the whole point behind Real America's Voice.
Real America's Voice, they got it going on.
Join Real America's Voice, where you make the difference.
When you are in Rap Chat, you are in the conversation.
Welcome back to this Real America's Voice news break. I'm Terrence Bates. President Trump is ordering Education Secretary Linda McMahon to start the process of dismantling the Department of Education. In that order, he writes, quote, to the maximum extent appropriate and permitted by law, take all necessary steps to facilitate the closure of the Department of Education and return authority over education to the states and local communities. About an hour ago, President Trump speaking in the Oval Office following up on yesterday's signing, saying that some of the tasks under the Department of Education are already being moved to other agencies.
I want to say that I've decided that the SBA, the Small Business Administration, headed by Kelly Loeffler, is a terrific person, will handle all of the student loan portfolio. We have a portfolio that's very large, lots of loans, tens of thousands of loans, pretty complicated deal. And that's coming out of the Department of Education immediately, and it's going to be headed up by Kelly Loeffler at SBA, and they're all set for it. They're waiting for it, and it'll be serviced much better than it has in the past. It's been a mess. And also, Bobby Kennedy, the Health and Human Services, will be handling special needs and all of the nutrition programs and everything else. Rather complex, but that's going to be headed by and handled by Health and Human Services. So I think that'll work out very well. Those two elements will be taken out of the Department of Education, and then all we have to do is get the students to get guidance from the people that love them and cherish them, including their parents, by the way, who will be totally involved in their education along with the boards and the governors and the states, and it's going to be a great.
Part of President Trump's motivation for closing the Department of Education is improving the U.S. standing in global education rankings. A secondary reason, though, as you just heard, is improving government efficiency. The latter extends to the Internal Revenue Service, as a member of the Elon Musk-led Doge team claims that he has canceled technology modernization contracts worth $1.5 billion at that agency. Tech startup executive Sam Corcus says that he found legacy contracts with outside technology consultants that were worth tens of billions of dollars, but the system upgrades being paid for were decades behind schedule. Plus, there's some institutional concerns he's uncovered.
We process at the IRS about the same amount of data as a mid-sized bank. And a typical mid-sized bank will have somewhere between 1 and 200 people in IT, and they'll have an operations and maintenance budget in like the $20 million a year range. We have 8,000 people in IT, and our operations and maintenance budget is $3.5 billion a year. I don't really know why yet, but I will tell you that 80% of that budget goes to contractors and licenses. We cannot perform the basic functions of tax collection without paying a toll to all these contractors. We really have to figure out how to get out of this hole. We're in a really deep hole right now.
Meantime, as the fight over illegal immigration and the laws allowing for the deportation of illegal immigrants continue to be litigated in courts across the country, here at Real America's Voice, we are continuing to cover what's happening along the southern border and how the Trump administration is continuing its work, to keep you and your family safe. And that's why you don't want to miss tomorrow's new episode of Law and Border.
We did it, Joe.
We did it, Joe. We did it, Joe.
We did it, Joe.
Oh,
Oh, baby.
Welcome back to an all-new season of Law and Border. We have Ben Berkwam and Oscar Ramirez to take you on an unprecedented journey to show you all 8 ports of entry from the Mexico side of the border.
There's a lot of activity right here that is going on.
Our fearless frontline reporters will be starting out in Mexico City. Then they'll head north to the Gulf of Mexico, now named the Gulf of America, and all the way across to the Pacific Ocean and Tijuana. Keep in mind, all the while, they'll be passing through multiple cartel territories. And these areas are patrolled by heavily armed cartel criminals.
Keeping the camera down just for we're in a very hot zone.
And the only network to take you there is Real America's Voice News. So strap in because Season 5 of Law and Border begins now.
Don't tell anyone we're coming.
Back in the saddle, touching off another explosive hour of the Steve Gruber Show, coming to you live from the heart of America right here in Studio G, fighting for you in this country from the foxhole of freedom. You can also find me on Twitter, X, Truth, Rumble, and now TikTok, too. All the same places that you need to find me. Go there. Follow today. Number 1 on the Big 3 today, Snow White does a faceplant at theaters. The remake is on the receiving end of horrible reviews, will be among the biggest flops in movie history, as it should be. Number 2, in a shock poll, Kamala Harris is the runaway favorite, that's right, to be the Democrats' presidential nominee in 2028. After one of the most embarrassing losses in presidential races, she could still come back. Wouldn't that be something? I welcome her to the race. And number 3, look, I know there are some of you, and I can relate to this, that are disappointed by the slow pace of some aspects of the second term of President Trump. I hear some of you complaining that things should be done faster. Like, where are the Epstein files? Well, we did get tens of thousands of pages released on the killing of our 35th president, John Kennedy, so that was real progress. But in other areas, it's been slower. And, of course, there is the war being waged inside courtrooms, cherry-picked courtrooms all over America, where federal district judges, which are basically local judges, are imposing their activism on the entire country. And make no mistake, none of this is by accident. It's all by design. But on the same token, do not despair. This is not Donald Trump's first time around. This is by no means anything like 2017. You see, this time around, President Trump came in ready. He knew exactly what they were going to do. He knew what they were capable of because he's seen them attack him, often with completely made-up stories like Russian collusion or illegal business practices to attack him legally or just try to discredit him personally. He's seen it all before. It is, by any measure, one of the most catastrophic failures in history. I mean, Donald Trump is president again, so they've tried and tried and tried again and failed again. And there's not one Democrat that actually believed it was even possible in early 2021. Most didn't think it was possible until the early morning hours of November 6, 2024, that Donald Trump would be returned to the White House, but more than 77 million Americans made their feelings known loud and clear, returning Trump to the White House with a mandate of 312 electoral votes, all 7 swing states in his column. So when they realized they'd been beaten again, well, the activist Democrats did the only thing they knew how: try to manipulate the entire system using lawfare. Listen to this.
There are those who believe that we are in real time living through an assault on the constitutional order. Do you believe that we are in a constitutional crisis right now?
Yes, our democracy is at risk because Donald Trump shows that he wishes to violate the laws in many, many different ways. The good news here is we did put 235 judges, progressive judges, judges not under the control of Trump last year on the bench, and they are ruling against Trump time after time after time. And we hope that the appellate courts, when it gets up there in the Supreme Court, will uphold those rulings. They restored the money to NIH. They required that 8,000 federal employees have to come back. We're in over 100 lawsuits against them, and we are having a good deal of success. It's only at the lower court level right now.
No, you're going to lose, though. Oh, and correct these fools every time. And to the republic, for which it stands, not to the democracy. It's not a democracy, Chuck. It's a republic. Democrats trying to change the language and dumb down America. Don't be part of it. He also folded to Donald Trump on the continuing resolution and Chuck Schumer, and he admits the courts are rigged, and they're rigged all by design. He just said it there. That's right, the courts are rigged, and it makes you wonder, how many of these judges are in their positions courtesy of shadowy figures that were ordering their nominations, using an auto pen that pretended to be Joe Biden? This is a war, my friends, for the future of America. Thankfully, President Trump came prepared. I hope you're prepared for this, too. It's going to take some time, but it'll be okay. Now, I believe the Supreme Court, despite any personal feelings of John Roberts or Amy Coney Barrett, SCOTUS will be almost required to back the president on a number of these issues that are going the wrong way at the lower courts, because there is simply no other way to read the Constitution and old laws like the 1798 Alien Enemies Act or the Alien and Seditions Act. The president not only has the right, but he has the duty and the responsibility to protect this nation from real threats. And yes, that includes the likes of Shende Aragua, MS-13, and any other violent groups that willingly do us harm. But those on the left, the activist left that prattle on endlessly about defending democracy when it's not, don't care one bit about any of that. And in fact, they really want a one-party supermajority like they have in California. One of the most dangerous puppeteers of lawfare is Norm Eisen, who, if you described him as unhinged, would be woefully inadequate. He has filed hundreds of these lawsuits against the Trump administration, garbage lawsuits. Listen to this.
It's a violation of the Constitution. The first time they try to keep me out of a courthouse will be right in front of a judge within minutes. I guarantee you that judge will have me in the courthouse. You have to understand it in a pattern, Anderson. Donald Trump said he was going to be a dictator on day one. The essence of dictatorship is breaking the law, and these unconstitutional
what's illegal about this?
Well, it violates First Amendment, freedom of speech. There's no due process at all. It cuts off my client's right to counsel if I need, and I do, security clearances to represent clients. This won't hold up in court, just like so many others of Donald Trump's actions. Illegal spending freezes, Mr. Elon Musk and Doge pawing over personal data, the firing of those FBI agents. I'll be in court this week on an illegal firing of tens of thousands of probationary employees.
Yeah, there you have it. Norm Eisen, behind hundreds of these lawsuits, unhinged would not be a strong enough word. He's been attacking President Trump since 2015. He says he must have a security clearance. You just heard him. And he continues to attack every move this administration makes. They shop for judges every step of the way, you know, trying to stop the Trump agenda, not at the ballot box, but in the courtrooms of America. You, of course, know this. Trump called out the garbage lawsuits and named names, including his. Here he is.
That you have been dealing with for years, like guys like Andrew Weissman, deranged Jack Smith. There's a guy named Norm Eisen. I don't even know what he looks like. His name is Norm Eisen of Crew. He's been after me for 9 years. Now, Crew is a charitable organization. And the reason I'm saying this, Todd, is I'm only going to get one chance to say this. But these are bad people. I don't know who he is. I don't know what he looks like. But everything I read is Norm Eisen of Crew. And Crew is a charitable organization. And that's a political thing. I sold whole life is to get Donald Trump, and he's been vicious and violent, and he's trying, and he probably had pretty good success over the years. But with me, how did he do? I think I'm president. Am I here because I'm president? But we had to take all of that abuse, even during the trial.
Yeah, he's president, all right. Democrats completely failed. Norm Eisen will fail, too. You see, the good news is that this time around, in addition to a team that was fully prepared for the onslaught of lawsuits, the president has more unwavering support than ever inside the halls of Congress. It's critical to his ongoing success, and we'll talk about that more when we get back. Good to see you here this morning as we roll through another big day here on the Steve Gruber Show. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Twitter's very slow right now. They're defending against attacks from all directions, so please follow me on Twitter. We need to pick up 25 followers today. You're part of the movement. Don't forget Facebook, Rumble, Instagram, TikTok. It's a movement, and you're part of it. I'll be right back. Like I said, in the halls of Congress, Donald Trump has more support now than he has ever had. Strong support. Of course, he's put together a team that is America first all the way through and through, and MAGA all the way through and through. Harriet Hageman, the congresswoman from Wyoming, ready to fight back against the war inside the courtrooms as well. Listen to this.
You know, I sit here and I listen to all of the caterwauling on the other side about Elon Musk. I don't know what he has to do with anything today. I listen to all of the accusations about Russia. Boy, I wish we could retire that word someday. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I listen to all of these, this nonsense that is being spewed out there. And what I can't understand is why anyone wants to undermine our criminal or civil justice system in the manner that has been done over the last couple of years with lawfare, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat.
Yeah. Yes, we're all frustrated by the constant roadblocks and speed bumps, but like I said, this isn't anything like Donald Trump's first administration, and everyone knew exactly what to expect, and they're taking it straight to the haters. The war for the soul of America is happening inside courtrooms every single day, but we have a different administration. That's what I want you to take away today. Listen to this.
We are fighting back every step of the way. We are in court every day fighting against these activist judges. We're not going to stop. Many of them should be recused from these cases. They will be recused from these cases. We're appealing them. Look at Chuckin. Look at Judge Chuckin with the EPA trying to control our money. Judge Chang trying to control the money of the U.S. aid. Judge Reyes, look what she did to Pete Hegseth. She made personal attacks in court about Pete Hegseth, and she's trying to control military readiness. You can't do this. And then, of course, Boasberg trying to control our foreign policy. These judges are out of control. We are going to fight back, and we are going to win. And the Supreme Court will be ready to hear these cases. Again, these are federal district judges who are trying to control our nation's agenda. And yes, President Trump won the popular vote by an overwhelming majority. Yeah. He won the Electoral College. And the people of America want change. And these judges they are losing, and they realize that, and we are going to win.
They are losing. They do realize that, and we are going to win. A little bit of patience. They came in prepared this time. In 2017, Donald Trump was not particularly familiar with the way the machinery of government works, the way it grinds people up and destroys them. But he does now. He knows better than anyone else what it takes, the fortitude it takes to move forward and move this government forward. Have no fear. Donald Trump knew what he was up against. It's going to take some time. Some of these cases will take time. It will slow down some of the things you want to see happen. But we'll get there. Oh, and speaking of the haters, by the way, have you heard about the Hate America tour? I think that's what they're calling the Bernie Sanders and AOC trip around America. The American Haters Tour or something like that, where they call for a stop to anything President Trump does. But what's far worse is what you hear from those in attendance of these gatherings. The calls for violence from the left everywhere outside the Bernie Sanders rally in Colorado, for example, just this weekend. Listen.
I believe that the minute that Donald Trump decided to start ignoring judicial orders, he gave up the right to be the rightful president of the United States. He's an enemy of the nation, and yes, I'd like to see him hung by his feet by a lamppost. So I'm kind of sick and tired of all these Democrats running around talking about, here's what we're going to do to win. They're not going to let you take office. The only way we're getting Donald Trump or J.D. Vance or his ilk out of power is having tens of millions in this people in the streets, and we're going to have to have a few thousand people die at the hands of cops and soldiers before people get outraged enough to actually force the government to resign.
Wow, he seems rational. And it's not like he was by himself. Bernie's rallygoers, one after another, calling for mass violence against other Americans. Try this on for size.
Beheaded Donald Trump, are you calling for his death?
I am, yes. I believe it's time that the people straight cut his head off.
Wow. These are rational folks. These are folks trying to figure out why they can't win elections. Really? Can't figure out why you can't win an election. I think that speaks pretty well for itself. Maybe I'm wrong. Even those that say they don't support violence, well, they support violence. Here's more.
But you wouldn't necessarily call for violence, would you? Are you supporting violence?
I think there's the people in power, that's all they're going to listen to at this point. I feel like we've done the rallies, we've done all these things, and they don't listen, and that was something that finally got people to listen. So I personally don't, but if that's what we need to do for people to listen, then that's what we need to do.
Oh, so I don't support violence unless that's what we need to do. One other thing that was painfully clear, they were also universally uninformed about much of anything. Listen, you got to hear this to believe it. Listen to this.
Do I want to get Elon Musk out of politics? Yeah, the world's richest man, the most influential in history, is now calling the shots.
What has he done that really bothers you?
He's arrogant, drugged up, naive.
60 years, USAID, billions of dollars. Do you think it made an impact in the world?
No answer. Yeah, there you have it. There's your Bernie Sanders AOC World Hate Tour. Anyhow, we'll be watching all this closely. Your health, your most valuable asset. At the Wellness Company, they're here to help you protect it. From daily essential supplements to specialized immune boost formulas, the doctor-developed products are designed to help you feel your best naturally. Not just about supplements, though. As a member, you'll have access 24/7 to virtual care, exclusive discounts, personalized wellness plans tailored to your needs. Not my needs, your needs. Not a one-size-fits-all is what I'm saying. It's for you personally. TWC.health/Gruber. Do that today. Explore the wide range of wellness solutions. TWC.health/Gruber. Use the promo code Gruber, and you will save 10% at the Wellness Company. Healthcare that works for you. Promo code Gruber. All right. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter today. We need 25 new followers on Twitter and Facebook. Looking for this movement to continue with you, side by side with me, as we continue to take back this country. God bless America. Quick break, and I'll be back. What is going on in Greenland? Well, I can tell you there's a KC-130 transport plane sitting there. C-130, excuse me. KC is the fuel plane. Landed in Nuuk, carrying 4 U.S. government vehicles ahead of a Thursday visit from, Vice President Vance, NSA Waltz. They're going to be meeting with the locals there. Second Lady Usha Vance will travel to Greenland with her son and a delegation. That's Thursday this week. So a lot of folks going to Greenland. You know, for all of this talk that it's never going to happen, it sure looks like it's going to happen at some point. And what I mean by that is a change in the relationship. Doesn't mean it's going to be the 51st state. It doesn't mean that it's going to be U.S. territory. But there's going to be a change in the relationship. Dramatic. Increasing the U.S. presence there and influence as we defend the Arctic and Western civilization. It's critical to our moving forward, and we are going to move forward. It's not a weak move, it's a strong move. And speaking of weak, some coffee is weak, some coffee is corporate nonsense, and then, there's 1775 coffee. Bold, high quality, Built for those like me who refuse to compromise. Handpicked at high altitude. Single origin beans roasted to perfection. No toxins, no shortcuts. Frankly, just damn good coffee. And if you want in, and you should, go to 1775coffee.com/Gruber. Using that promo code Gruber, you'll save 10% and start your morning with coffee that stands for something like me. Oh, and every dollar you spend, that is an entry to win a Cybertruck. That's right, Elon Musk's Cybertruck from Tesla, and $30,000 in cash. 1775 Coffee. Bold flavor, exceptional quality, and no BS. Kind of reminds me of this program, which is why we're partnered with 1775 Coffee, and you should too. All right, still to come today. We're going to continue to catch up. I was gone for a couple of days, and look, there's a lot to get through here. I'm glad you're part of it. Remember, we're looking for 25 new followers on Twitter and Facebook today. You need to be part of this movement. I can't do it alone, but we can do it together, my friends. This is The Steve Gruber Show. So you probably know, and so here's the thing with X. Twitter/X. X is the official name of the website now, of course. A lot of people still call it Twitter. I still refer to it as Twitter sometimes. But it's moving really slowly these past many days because of the numerous attacks. It's under attack all the time by people, just like these idiots going and attacking Teslas. They think somehow by attacking X and destroying it that somehow they're going to slow down this administration. They're not. They think by attacking Teslas and burning them and shooting them and, spray painting dealerships that somehow that's going to stop the movement in Washington. It's not. It's not, right? And it's just strange to me. Anyhow, that's why I've been talking about X lately, and that's why I'm saying I need 25 followers today, because if I don't say it, the numbers are moving so slowly that our movement's being bogged down by the haters, and we're not going to allow that to happen, which is why I encourage you to join me on X, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Donner, on Blitzen, whatever it is. We need to move this movement ourselves. We need to kick that horse in the ass, if you know what I mean, right? GE Aerospace, another bit of good news for the economy, more investments coming in. And this is a continuing pattern for Donald Trump and this administration. You've got all these things going on simultaneously. And that's the beauty of Donald Trump 2.0. He came in knowing exactly what was going to happen. They were going to attack him in court. They're going to try to smear him on MSNBC and CNN. That seems to be failing. The Democrats have a 27% approval rating. 27%. And only 7% have a high approval rating of the Democrats. They're a party being led by Jasmine Crockett, Bernie Sanders, and AOC. They're in deep, deep trouble. They have no leadership. Oh, and by the way, I told you this. I can't believe this came out. I can't. Kamala Harris is far and away the leader to become the Democrat nominee for president in 2028. A poll came out. She was at 39%. Pete Buttigieg came in at 10%. I'll take either. Pete Buttigieg has no ability to be president of the United States. He's the least qualified I've ever seen. Yeah. Anyhow, GE Aerospace investing $1 billion in U.S. manufacturing, 5,000 U.S. jobs in manufacturing and engineering. This kind of an announcement just keeps coming. We're getting close to $2 trillion of new investment, $2 trillion of new investment in the United States. And so, like I say, these things are all happening at the same time. They're all running parallel. We're closing the border. We're going after fentanyl. We're tossing out Tren de Aragua and MS-13. We're getting investments. We're going to Greenland and Panama and everywhere else we need to go to secure America's future in what's in our best interests. Not what's in the best interest of Europe. Oh, and by the way, check this out. Ukraine just walked out of peace talks in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, refusing to meet with the Russian counterparts. They're all in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, put together by the United States. And Zelensky's crew just walked out like half an hour ago. Zelensky has no interest in peace, apparently, obviously, clearly. Because the Ukrainian just walked out again. Bizarre. Now you know. And so why would we continue to invest American money, American equipment, and put American lives on the line for these fools that keep toying with World War III? Oh, and Anthony just pointed out the United Arab Emirates also earmarked another $1 trillion, which would, if that's another $1 trillion, that'll put us closer to $3 trillion of investment. Thank you, Anthony, for pointing that out. I remember that over the weekend. United Arab Emirates coming up with piles of money, too. Anyhow, and the entire Ukrainian entourage walks out of Riyadh. Walks out. They don't want peace there, apparently. Meanwhile, here's a little something from the Bill Maher program. You know, Bill Maher is an anomaly to me. You know, sometimes I agree with him and completely agree with him. And other times I completely disagree with him. Isn't that the beauty of America and free speech? Isn't it, though? I can say, Bill, come on. Didn't he predict Kamala Harris was going to win? Yes, he did. He was wrong about that completely. And I was right about that completely. But here's one during his program, not him, but during his program on Friday, the entire COVID pandemic once again laid at the feet of Anthony Fauci. And I want you to hear it because it's pretty compelling. Listen.
You go back to 2015, you will find a big meeting in London where they say there's one lab in the world most likely to have a problem with this, Wuhan. Do you know who was the biggest supporter of gain-of-function research for the last 30 years? Anthony Fauci. Anthony Fauci. Now, remember that name. There's a reason he was given a pardon back to 2014. There is something very wrong going on here.
Yeah, I also don't think he did it for nefarious reasons. There's an argument to be made. There's an actual intellectual debate to be had. Should gain-of-function research be done? We want to get ahead of viruses. The other answer is, the other response would be, it's too dangerous, because if it gets out, it's going to be bad, and that's what happened. But I don't think he's an evil guy, like some people do, who was trying to get rich off this.
No.
Okay, he just made the wrong call.
No, he knew from the get-go that the Wuhan lab had security levels that were the average of a dentist's office. They should have been at the highest level imaginable. He knew that. Not only that,
he made the wrong call.
The NIH and NID had helped fund it.
Yeah, and he helped fund it. I don't know what his motivations were. I don't. But I know this. During COVID and during the pandemic, anybody that spoke up or spoke out would get quashed. People like me would get stepped on, silenced, deplatformed, canceled. Happened over and over again. But by the way, if you thought it was over, this canceling of people for ideas and so forth, not only is it not over, it's spreading in places like England, where they will pound on your door in the middle of the night to demand you take down a social media post. If you don't believe me, listen to this.
It's 2:30 in the morning. Can I ask why for a second time tonight you are disturbing me and my son in my home?
Yeah, because there's been made aware there's videos that have been posted onto social media, including those that were made this morning.
This morning? What made this morning?
And of my officers that have been round this evening.
Right, and?
So I'm here to kindly ask that you remove said videos from social media.
No, I don't think I've broke the law, so I don't think I will.
And also, I want to advise you that you might well be committing offences under the Malicious Communications Act, okay?
Oh.
So at 2 in the morning, they're pounding on this woman's door, demanding she take down videos from social media. She says, I don't think I will. But can you believe that that's what's happening in the UK and other parts of Europe? If you don't think it can happen here, you're out of your mind. I'll be back in a moment. It was like 28 degrees, 30 degrees. And I thought spring was here. And it, not quite yet. We're in that transition period where it can be 25 in the morning and, 60 in the afternoon. But it's that transition period that I'm not a big fan of mud season. But I am a big fan of quality. I'm a big fan of comfort. I'm a big fan of Muskox shirts out of Detroit, Michigan. You guys know that Brad Hoos is the founder of Muskox. He joins me now as we're just about to the end of this season, Brad. But my gosh, it's jacket time, and nothing better than a wool shirt from Muskox to play that jacket for that interim time, right? Welcome back to the program, Brad. Nice to see you.
Hey, good morning, Steve. Yeah, perfect weather for going out with the dog, not needing an extra coat, having that nice, warm, cozy flannel on.
Amen. And for anybody not familiar with Muskox flannel, I mean, it is so soft. You can nuzzle up to it. You can cuddle up to it. And I guess I just used the word cuddle on television. It's okay, everybody, but you can. It's not abrasive like old wool shirts used to be, right? This is the nicest flannel, the softest flannel, and tough as steel. That's why I fell in love with your product here 3-4 years ago, Brad. It's just the best.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. We appreciate that. Yeah, one of our customers once said, buttery soft and built like a tank. And we're like, wow, that's pretty good. That's better than anything we've come up with. So we had to run with it. But it's true. We're all about quality. We're all about building things that last and doing things the right way, which I know in 2025 is a novel concept. But that's really what's made us, strong over the years.
Well, look, you come from Detroit. Detroit's had its rough and tumble go with the world, and Detroit has rallied and come back. Anybody who hasn't been to Detroit lately, by the way, they've made this a world-class city again. You go down to the Stadium District, it's just absolutely first class. And so that's where you planted your flag with Muskox. I'm here in Detroit. We're going to make a difference. We're not made in China. We're going to go do something different here. And I think that speaks volumes, Brad.
I think it does too. What we found is that people really appreciate something that's built for the long haul. I mean, maybe this sounds hokey, but we're named after the muskox. Muskox is an animal that's been around for millions of years, and they're thriving today. They live in the harshest, coldest environment, and they're really built to last. So for us, everything we do is making sure we're honoring the muskox. And so our flannels, they're built really well. They're double brushed, 100% cotton, part of the Better Cotton program. And there's no shortcuts that we're taking in terms of making these flannels.
Yeah, go muskox.com. And you give money, don't you? You give every time somebody buys a shirt from Muskox, just so I don't miss this part, you are supporting wildlife in Alaska. You're supporting wildlife in the United States.
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of companies out there that will talk about donating 1% of profits to some cause, and good for them. We take it to a whole different level. For every flannel purchase, we give $5 to the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center in Alaska, who are doing great things for American wildlife conservation.
Yeah. By the way, the Yukon flannel jacket, which I have, is this middle of the season type jacket that has the pockets that I like. So if I'm out with a dog or I'm checking on my chickens here at the chicken ranch, people know that I chicken rancher here, Brad. So it's just the perfect garment to go outside. As you said, buttery soft, I say tough as steel. And I've talked to so many people, the whole crew here wears them. I've talked to so many people that have bought it through this appearances that you make here, and they send me notes and say, Gruber, you were right. These are the best shirts ever. Yeah, and it's an American company. They are the best shirts ever. It's the best flannel you're ever going to own. It's a little bit more than you might spend for the flannel that's going to wear out in a couple of years, but the thing is, it won't. It'll be here. Your kids are going to be wearing these shirts in years to come, aren't they?
Yeah, if you appreciate quality, then you'll appreciate Muskox, right? Like you said, our shirts aren't cheap, although we've got a great offer for listeners here to take the edge off that a little bit here. But they're built to last. So over time, you're not going to be buying new flannels left and right. You're gonna have a Muskox that's built to last. So if it's okay, Steve, should we share that promo code?
Yeah, go ahead. It's Gruber 15, I believe.
You nailed it. Gruber 15, that's going to get you $15 off a Muskox flannel. So who doesn't like a good deal on a product that's built to last?
And there's new tall sizes and 3 of the best-selling styles. They just came out. They're almost sold out. So if you want to get into the tall sizes for people like me that are 6'2" or whatever you might be, you can get that now. And for anyone in Central Illinois, by the way, you're doing a show there, correct?
Yeah, that's right. In Central Illinois, hey, I got some family there. I want to give Central Illinois a little bit of love. We're doing a trunk show at Crafted Stag Supply here. It's something that we're really excited about coming up here in April 5th and 6th in Springfield, Illinois. It's a 1-year anniversary for their show. For their store. It's a great store in Central Illinois at Crafted Stag, April 5th and 6th.
And you've got a killer gravel race. Tell me about that. It's April the 12th. What is that about? I mean, killer. Is this one of these bike races where people try to get themselves injured?
Fortunately, no. It's called the Barry-Roubaix. It's the largest gravel bike race in the world, and it's happening in Hastings, Michigan. So in West Michigan on April 12th. So muskox will be there. We've got a couple of racers that we're sponsoring this year. That's something that we're continuing to try to help do, is people that are outdoors doing things and making the world a little bit better. So we've got a couple of racers we're sponsoring at the Barry-Roubaix killer bike race in Hastings, Michigan, coming up on April 12th. So we're excited about that.
From Detroit across the world, that's right, taking on the world. Detroit Tough is muskox. Like he said, buttery soft, tough as steel. I love them, and trust me, your wife's going to love them too. If you're able to hang on to it and she doesn't steal it, you'll be glad you had it, but you might want to get an extra, because Ivy stole mine to begin with. She has her own now, because otherwise I wouldn't have one at all. Go to gomuskox.com, gomuskox.com. Gruber 15, you'll save $15 off of flannel. It'll be the best shirt you ever buy. I promise you that. The best heavyweight flannel by Gear Junkie and others. Brad Hoos, always appreciate you being here, and I love the fact that you did it in Detroit, Brad. Thank you as always.
Thank you, Steve. We appreciate you and all the great Gruber listeners who've supported us over the years. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Brad. There you have it. GoMuskox.com. Gruber 15. Save $15 right now. You'll be glad you did. Check it out. Send me some feedback, too. I love it when we hear from you folks, all right? It is the Steve Gruber Show. I mentioned this earlier because it's everywhere, and I was just in Las Vegas here last week, and that's where they set 6 different Teslas on fire at a facility. Shot 3 of them, burned 6, something like that. This is insane. There's a guy, it's posted on my X feed, a guy who tries to vandalize a Tesla by vomiting on it, ends up vomiting on himself. I mean, this is the genius level here is quite something. Tim Walz, who ran for vice president with Kamala Harris, says he was joking about enjoying watching Tesla's stock drop. No, he wasn't. But then it was pointed out, hey, dumbass, the state of Minnesota is invested heavily in Tesla. So your retirement there for the folks in Minnesota is dependent on this American company, Tesla, doing well. And he's cheering for the stock to go down. And he says, I was just joking. No, you weren't. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. By the way, spend your time well, my friends. It's our most precious commodity. Every day we have a choice. Waste on mindless entertainment or use it to learn something that can help you change your mind, change the world. Maybe Hillsdale College continues to offer more than 40 free online courses. I've taken a number of them. The latest is on totalitarian novels. In just 8 lectures, Hillsdale's President Larry Arnn will walk you through 1984, Brave New World, Darkness at Noon, and That Hideous Strength. These are books that reveal what happens when tyranny takes over. These novels may be decades old, but their warnings are as urgent as ever. Let Hillsdale College help you understand why faith, family, and friends are worth fighting for. Go to gruberforhillsdale.com to enroll. This is the best thing I offer you every day. There's no cost. It's easy to get started. gruberforhillsdale.com. And you can learn so much. Larry Arnn is a genius. The president of Hillsdale College, Larry Arnn, is a wise man. Right? He is a wise man. gruberforhillsdale.com, and you can find out more. In the next hour, Ann Vandersteel will be here. Matt Dickerson, Director of Budget Policy at the Economic Policy Institution, will also be here. Food stamp spending went up $100 billion under Joe Biden. Why do you think that is? Righting the ship of America is what we do here every day. Don't forget, follow me on X and Facebook. We need to make a difference in this world. We need to do it together. Join the movement at SteveGruber.com.